I want to bring up another big story that we're following. Senator Manchin is now calling for a potential pause on the $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill. We know that this has been a huge priority for the Biden administration, along with several of his colleagues down in D.C. What can you tell us about this and what this potentially means?
There are reports that Senator Manchin will only support as much as $1.5 trillion in a reconciliation package. Has the president spoken to Senator Manchin, or does he have plans to? And would the White House accept a $1.5 trillion plan?
Well, first, Senator Manchin, of course, continues to be a very important partner to the president and the president's agenda, and we fully expected that there would be a range of negotiations in private. Sometimes they spill out into the public, and that is what is happening as we speak around components of the package. But we also know that this is a process that's ongoing, one that we just lived through over the summer, where there were many times where the agenda was called dead and it turned out it wasn't. I'm not going to read out any calls or engagements the president has with Senator Manchin. We engage with him on a regular basis from a senior level, including with the president, and we are looking ahead to getting this bill passed and moving it forward.
$1.5 trillion.
Again, I'm not going to negotiate from here. What the president is encouraged by is agreement about the need to lower costs for working families, from prescription to child care to the cost of college to elder care, on the need to tackle the climate crisis, and on the need for corporations and the wealthiest Americans to pay their fair share in taxes. I would also note that whatever the size is, it's not actually accurate to call it any of these sizes, 1, 1.5, 2, 3.5. This is going to be paid for. That is something the president is committed to, something Senator Manchin has called for as well. And the real choice right now is whether you're going to lower costs for people in this country on elder care, child care, cost of college.
Look, there are some in my caucus who may believe it's too much. There are some in my caucus who believe it's too little. The original bill that Senator Sanders put in was $6 trillion. I supported that. And I can tell you this. In reconciliation, one, we are going to all come together to get something done. And two, it will have every part of the Biden plan in a big, bold, robust way. Menu. You can follow up.
Lowering the price tag, or are you firm on $3.5 trillion?
As I said, every part of Biden's proposal will be there in a big, robust way. There are some members in our caucus who want less, some members in our caucus who want more. That's same in the House. We're going to all come together to meet that goal. Yes?
Do you support an exception to Senate rules on voting rights, and do 50 members of your caucus support?
Everything is on the table. Yes?
Senator, last night during the vote-a-rama, Republicans, as the minority party normally does, put forward a lot of messaging amendments, including on the Green New Deal defunding.
Not on voting rights, on reconciliation.
Reconciliation, correct, on
Yeah.
vote-a-rama, sorry.
Yes.
They put forward a lot of these messaging amendments. Do any of those votes last night concern you in terms
No.
of vulnerable positions?
We go through Vote-a-rama all the time. It has no effect on the bill. When you compare the amazing breadth and strength and depth of the $3.5 trillion we passed, this is a small little thing that means nothing. Yes, in the back, red dress. I hope not. As you've seen, I always try to do bipartisan stuff when we can. And this Senate has done far more bipartisan stuff than ever when McConnell was there. And my moderate members know that, appreciate it, and have thanked me for it. So, for instance, we had before the infrastructure bill, which we had a push, prod, and I was very instrumental in trying to making sure it got done. And, that's what the Gang of Five says, our 5 Democrats. We had USICA, took 3 weeks, bipartisan. We had the Asian crimes bill, bipartisan. We had the water bill, bipartisan. We had the transport bill, bipartisan. And we've had more amendments this year, skipping Vote-a-rama, which, of course, is an exercise all unto itself way out there. We have had more amendments in months than McConnell often had in years. Yes.
Senator, in terms of paying for the plan, the reconciliation plan, is the hope that the tax increases on the ultra-wealthy as well as corporations are going to cover it, or is this going to add to the debt?
Some are worried about inflation. But if you talk to the leading economists, the way to deal with that is to make sure you pay for it. We intend to pay for it, and we intend to pay for it in sticking with Biden's rules by closing loopholes, having the wealthy and the big corporations finally pay their fair share. Last question.
Thank you. Back to reconciliation. In many ways, what has happened has been the easy part. You said so yourself. When you look at the comments coming from those who doubt you can get this done, and you look at the challenges ahead with Senators Sinema and Manchin, tell us, what is your plan, and do you have a deadline? Will you try to
Okay.
get this done
First question.
September?
Yep. Well, first I would say so many people were dubious we could get anything done, including many of you in this room. Can't get the ARP done. Never get the president's cabinet done in time. Never will this two-track strategy. It's going to be impossible for it to succeed. So far, so good. How come? I try, and I think our caucus tries to show respect for every single member. We have a diverse caucus. We have Bernie Sanders, we have Joe Manchin, and everybody in between. And we show respect. We don't belittle or denigrate or anything. But second, and most important, every member of our caucus realizes that unity is our strength. And with 50 votes, at a time when Republicans on too many issues refuse to cooperate at all, as you saw last night, we all need to be unified, and everyone knows that. So that doesn't mean people don't fight for their beliefs, but at the end of the day, we have to come together. Thus far, we have. Is it going to be easy on reconciliation? Absolutely not. But if past is prologue, we got a chance, a good, decent chance.
You know, I guess the question I have, Garrett, for you is how alone is Joe Manchin? Is he representing 2 votes? Is it 10? You know, I will say this, what I thought he was doing was a bit of a trial balloon, and it's been intriguing on the silence from others, either total denouncing or total support.
Well, look, remember that Joe Manchin put up his biggest trial balloon on all of this the day the Senate left town after passing the infrastructure bill, when he came out with that first op-ed saying that he wouldn't be willing to go as high as $3.5 trillion. So he's been kind of periodically picking his head up during this recess period and reminding everyone he is still out here and he still has the same concerns. He's had some backup, or at least some of the same or similar concerns expressed by Kyrsten Sinema, the Democratic senator from Arizona, who was his ally on the infrastructure package and appears to be aligned with him here. And there's always a question on the House side whether those moderates, perhaps even that same group of 9 or 10 who pushed for the early vote on the infrastructure bill, might continue to cause problems for Speaker Pelosi in that chamber. Really, though, I think we are talking about a Senate issue. And the thing that sort of works for Manchin here is, even if he is alone, he likes that position. He is perfectly comfortable being a boogeyman to progressives. He can't be bullied on Twitter or in cable news primetime. That kind of thing doesn't move him. It only makes him stronger in his mind back home. And so if he is alone, he'll work with that. And I think it feels as though, and just knowing from covering him, that the rest of the party is going to have to ultimately come to him at some point and say, okay, Joe, what do you want in this bill? And then he can be in the position he likes to be as that kind of key wheeler dealer on getting something done.